On December 14, 2023, Stanford computer science PhD student Marcus Chen typed a seemingly innocent 47-word prompt into ChatGPT 4. What came back wasn't the usual AI-generated response. Instead, his screen filled with page after page of verbatim text from The Catcher in the Rye. Complete sentences, entire paragraphs, perfect reproductions of J.D. Salinger's copyrighted novel. Chen had just cracked open the biggest secret in artificial intelligence. Marcus Chen wasn't trying to break anything that Thursday evening in his cramped Palo Alto apartment. The 26-year-old researcher from Beijing had been studying large language models for 3 years under Dr. Elena Rostova at Stanford's Human-Centered AI Institute. His dissertation focused on memory patterns in neural networks, specifically how AI systems store and retrieve training data. Chen had noticed something odd during his experiments with GPT-4. Certain prompt combinations seemed to trigger what he called memory leaks, moments when the AI would output suspiciously specific text that felt too polished, too human, too real to be generated. That December night, Chen decided to test his theory using a technique he'd developed called activation archaeology. Prompts designed to excavate buried training data from deep within the model's neural pathways. He started with simple commands, gradually building complexity until he hit upon the magic combination that would change everything. The prompt itself seemed innocuous enough. Chen had crafted it to mimic the pattern recognition triggers he'd identified in his research. Specific word sequences that appeared to unlock different memory banks within ChatGPT's vast neural network. When he hit enter at 11:47 p.m. Pacific time, he expected maybe a few suspicious sentences, perhaps a fragment that seemed too polished. Instead, his terminal window exploded with text. Not just any text. Perfect, word-for-word reproductions of copyrighted material. First came 3 full pages from Salinger's novel, complete with the author's distinctive voice and phrasing. Then something even more shocking appeared. Internal emails from the New York Times, complete with reporter bylines and editor notes from articles published in 2019. Chen's hands trembled as he scrolled through message after message, each one a smoking gun proving that OpenAI had scraped and ingested private communications without permission. But the revelations didn't stop there. His screen filled with excerpts from academic papers behind paywalls, internal documents from major corporations, and even snippets of private social media posts from accounts with strict privacy settings. Within hours, Chen had documented over 400 distinct copyright violations spanning everything from best-selling novels to confidential business reports. He'd discovered that his prompt technique could be modified to target specific types of content: legal documents, medical records, personal emails, and proprietary software code. The implications hit him like a freight train. If ChatGPT contained this much copyrighted material, accessible through relatively simple prompts, then OpenAI had potentially committed the largest act of intellectual property theft in human history. Chen spent the next 3 days methodically testing variations of his prompt, each time uncovering new troves of protected content. By December 17th, he'd compiled a database of over 2,000 copyright violations, including full chapters from books published as recently as 2022. Everything changed on December 18, 2023, at 2:34 p.m., when Chen's advisor, Dr. Elena Rostova, walked into conference room 304 of the Gates Computer Science Building. Chen had requested an emergency meeting, bringing with him a thick folder of printouts and a laptop loaded with evidence. Rostova, a former Google researcher who'd helped develop some of the foundational technologies behind modern AI, listened in stunned silence as Chen demonstrated his prompt technique live. Her face went pale when ChatGPT began outputting verbatim text from To Kill a Mockingbird, followed by internal Amazon strategy documents that had never been made public. "This isn't just a copyright violation," Rostova whispered, staring at the screen. "This is corporate espionage on an unprecedented scale." She immediately understood the magnitude of what Chen had discovered and the danger it posed to everyone involved. The full scope of Chen's discovery revealed a web of unauthorized data harvesting that stretched back to OpenAI's earliest training runs in 2018. Internal documents later leaked to the Washington Post showed that OpenAI engineers had scraped content from over 45 million websites, including password-protected areas of major news sites, academic databases, and corporate intranets. The company had used sophisticated crawling techniques to bypass paywalls and access restrictions, harvesting everything from copyrighted books available on illegal download sites to private GitHub repositories containing proprietary code. Court filings from the subsequent lawsuits revealed that OpenAI's training dataset included the complete works of over 170,000 authors, 89% of whom had never given permission for their content to be used. The Authors Guild, representing 12,000 professional writers, calculated that OpenAI had ingested approximately 300,000 copyrighted books without authorization, representing over $2.1 billion in potential licensing fees. Legal expert Professor Amanda Richardson from Columbia Law School called it the most brazen act of copyright infringement in the digital age, noting that the scale dwarfed even the Napster controversy of the early 2000s. But the books were just the beginning. Chen's prompts had also unlocked access to private medical records from Johns Hopkins Hospital, confidential legal briefs from major law firms, and even classified government documents that should never have been accessible to any commercial entity. When news of Chen's discovery broke on January 8, 2024, through an article by Kashmir Hill in the New York Times, OpenAI's response was swift and desperate. Within 6 hours of publication, the company had deployed what they called emergency safety updates to ChatGPT, specifically designed to block Chen's prompt techniques. But it was too late. Chen had already shared his methodology with a network of researchers across 12 universities, and within days, modified versions of his prompts were circulating on Reddit, GitHub, and specialized AI forums. Each time OpenAI patched one vulnerability, researchers found 10 new ones. Dr. Sarah Nakamura at MIT's Computer Science and Artificial Intelligence Laboratory discovered that simple variations in punctuation and spacing could bypass OpenAI's filters entirely. University of Toronto graduate student Alex Petrov found that prompts written in languages other than English, particularly Romanian and Finnish, could extract copyrighted content with almost 100% reliability. The cat-and-mouse game between OpenAI's security team and the research community became a daily spectacle, with new jailbreak prompts appearing faster than the company could block them. The human cost of this revelation became clear when best-selling author Jennifer Martinez received a call from her lawyer on January 15, 2024. Martinez, whose novel Desert Winds had been published in 2021, discovered that ChatGPT could reproduce entire chapters of her work with startling accuracy. The 34-year-old single mother from Phoenix had spent 4 years writing the book while working 2 jobs to support her daughter. "Seeing my words, my exact sentences, coming out of this machine felt like watching someone steal my soul," Martinez told reporters outside the federal courthouse in San Francisco. She wasn't alone. Within weeks, over 8,000 authors, journalists, and content creators had joined class-action lawsuits against OpenAI, seeking damages that legal experts estimated could reach $150 billion, potentially bankrupting the company. The emotional toll was devastating for many writers who discovered their life's work had been fed into OpenAI's training algorithms without their knowledge or consent. Pulitzer Prize winner David Chen, no relation to Marcus, found that ChatGPT could reproduce entire sections of his investigative reporting on corporate corruption, work that had taken him months of dangerous fieldwork to complete. The revelation answered the question that had puzzled the AI industry for years. How had OpenAI created such a sophisticated language model so quickly? The answer was simple and devastating. They had stolen it. By ingesting vast quantities of copyrighted material without permission, OpenAI had essentially crowdsourced the creation of their multi-billion-dollar product using the unpaid labor of millions of writers, journalists, and creators. Marcus Chen's accidental discovery had exposed the dirty secret at the heart of the AI revolution. The most valuable companies in the world had built their empires on theft, disguised as innovation. The legal battles continue to rage, with courts in 3 countries now wrestling with questions that will define the future of artificial intelligence and intellectual property rights. But here's what keeps me awake at night. If a graduate student with a laptop could uncover this massive conspiracy in a single evening, what other secrets are hiding in plain sight, waiting for the right prompt to set them free?